Welcome back, everyone. Today we are diving into a really powerful and challenging piece of philosophy from Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra.
This sounds intense. We're talking about the chapter called The Way of the Creating One, which is all about forging your own path, right?
Exactly. Zarathustra starts by asking a profound question. Are you ready to go into isolation and seek the way to yourself?
That's a big step. He immediately brings up the herd, saying that they believe all isolation is wrong, and that anyone who seeks can easily get lost.
That's the first hurdle. He acknowledges that you were once part of this herd, this collective way of thinking, so its voice will still echo within you.
So even when you decide you have your own conscience, you'll feel a sense of pain or loss from that separation. It's like leaving home for the first time.
Precisely. That pain is actually a product of the very conscience you're trying to leave behind. It's the last glow of that old connection.
So Nietzsche is asking if you are willing to walk this path of affliction, this painful journey, which is ultimately the path to discovering your true self.
And he immediately challenges you, asking, show me your authority and your strength to do this. Are you really something new?
He uses some amazing metaphors here. He asks if you are a first motion or a self-rolling wheel. What does that really mean?
It means, are you a genuine source of new values and actions, or are you just reacting to things? Can you compel stars to revolve around you? Meaning, can you create your own center of gravity?
He seems very skeptical of most people's motivations, warning against the lusting for loftiness and ambition. He wants to see something more genuine.
Yes, he criticizes what he calls great thoughts that are like bellows. They inflate things with air, but ultimately make them emptier than before.
So it's not enough to have a big idea. Talk is cheap. It's about whether that idea has substance and leads to real creation.
This brings us to one of the most critical concepts in the chapter, the nature of true freedom. He asks, free dost thou call yourself?
And he's not interested in hearing that you've just escaped from a yoke or some form of servitude. That's not what he considers real freedom.
Exactly. He makes this crucial distinction between being free from what and being free for what. Escaping something is only the first and lesser step.
So if you quit a job you hate, you're free from that job. But Nietzsche would say that's meaningless unless you know what you are free for.
Precisely. What is your purpose? What will you build with this newfound freedom? Otherwise, he says, you might cast away your final worth along with your servitude.
That's a powerful thought. Freedom isn't an end in itself. It's an opportunity for something else, for creation. What is that next step then?
The next step is the ultimate test. Can you give yourself your own good and evil? Can you establish your own will as your law?
Basically, can you become your own lawgiver, your own judge, and even the avenger of your own law? That sounds incredibly lonely and difficult.
He describes it as terrible. He says being alone with yourself as the judge is like being a star, thrown into the icy breath of empty space.
So even if you start out with courage and hope, he predicts that this profound solitude will eventually start to wear you down.
Yes, he warns that one day your pride will break, your courage will fail, and you will cry out, I am alone.
And you'll start to doubt yourself. Your own high ideals will seem like a phantom that frightens you, and you'll think all is false.
This is the dark night of the soul for the individual. He talks about feelings that arise in this state, which seek to slay the lonesome one.
What are those feelings? Despair, self-pity, the desire to just give up and go back to the herd?
Exactly. And he asks a chilling question. Are you capable of being a murderer? Can you destroy these feelings before they destroy you?
It's a constant internal battle, isn't it? But it's not just internal, is it? He also talks about how the outside world reacts to this individual.
Right. He asks if you've ever known the anguish of your justice in trying to be fair to people who disdain you for being different.
Why do they disdain you? He says it's because you force them to think differently, and they hold that against you. They never forgive you for going past them.
And the higher you rise on your own path, the more intense their envy becomes. He famously says, most of all, however, is the flying one hated.
So what is the creator supposed to do in the face of all this injustice and negativity being thrown at them?
His advice is radical. He says you must tell yourself, I choose your injustice as my allotted portion. You must accept it as part of the price.
That's a tough pill to swallow. You have to accept the unfairness and, as he says, shine for them nonetheless, like a star.
And then comes another surprising warning. Be on guard against the good and the just. This seems completely counterintuitive at first.
Why would you need to be wary of good people? I don't quite get that part.
Because the good and just are often the most rigid defenders of the existing morality. They hate the lonesome one who devises their own virtue.
Ah, so they see the Creator as a heretic, a threat to their established system, and they are the ones most likely to want to crucify them.
Exactly. He also adds a warning against holy simplicity, which distrusts anything complex and is quick to condemn what it doesn't understand.
It seems the dangers come from all sides. He even warns against the assaults of thy love. What does he mean by that?
He means that in your loneliness, you become vulnerable. The isolated person is too quick to reach out and offer their hand to anyone they meet.
So you might give your trust away too easily, just for a moment of connection, even to someone who doesn't deserve it or will harm you.
That's why he says, to many people, you should not give your hand, but only your paw. And I wish your paw also to have claws. You must protect yourself.
All these external struggles seem to point back to one central conflict, though, the one that happens inside.
That's the core of it. He states it plainly. The worst enemy thou canst meet wilt thyself always be. The real journey is past yourself and your 7 devils.
So those devils are your own inner demons, your flaws, your doubts. You have to confront them directly on this path to yourself.
And in doing so, you become a heretic to your old self. You must be willing to doubt, to be a fool, even a villain in your own eyes, to move forward.
This leads to that incredible image of fire. Ready must thou be to burn thyself in thine own flame. How couldst thou become new if thou hast not first become ashes?
This is the essence of the creative process. It is a process of self-overcoming, of destroying your current self to allow a new, higher self to emerge.
So you take your 7 devils, all your struggles and darkness, and you use them as the raw material to create a God for yourself, a new ideal.
Yes, it is the path of the creating one. And he says it's also the path of the loving one, because you love yourself enough to want to create something greater.
But it's a strange kind of love, because he says you must also despise yourself as only lovers can despise. What does that mean?
It means you must despise your current limitations and weaknesses. That dissatisfaction, that despising, is what fuels the desire to create something beyond what you are now.
So true creation comes from a place of loving what could be while despising what currently is. That's a really challenging and profound idea.
It is. The final instruction from Zarathustra is to take this creative love and go into your isolation. Create something beyond yourself, even if you perish in the attempt.
It's a call to a very difficult but ultimately meaningful life, where the goal isn't comfort, but creation and self-transformation. An incredible message.